Welcome back. It's time to review the front pages of our national dailies. We'll start off with Daily Trust. Governor Yusuf's defection beyond Kano, and that's on pages 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Wike, APC, National Secretary clash over Fubara. That's on page 11 of the Daily Trust newspaper if you want more on that story. And then Boko Haram IED kills 6 soldiers in Borno. That's on page 5 of the Daily Trust. Nigeria crushed Mozambique to reach AFCON quarterfinal. That's on page 31 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And 469 Kano children die of malnutrition in 6 months. That's on page 30 of the Daily Trust. Banks' credit to private sector drops by 1.3 trillion naira in 1 year. That's on page 20 of the Daily Trust newspaper. INEC begins a second phase of voter registration. That's on page 30 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And students protest against kidnapping in Edo. That's on page 30 as well. If you want more on those headlines, get yourself a copy of Daily Trust to stay informed. Next up, we have New Telegraph. APC to Wike, resign, don't bring PDP spirit into our party. May sue him over 600 billion naira allegation, says minister, overplaying his political card as Wike threatens APC's scribe with consequences. Says ruling party should not take his support for Tinubu for granted. That's on pages 3 and 4 of the New Telegraph. We have Otis diatribe won't stop Tinubu APC's victory in 2027, says Senator Kano. That's on page 2 of the New Telegraph. Federal government set to end Wike NECO exam malpractice in 2026. JAM rules out increase in UTME fees, and that's on pages 3 and 28 of the New Telegraph. And Makinde sacks SSG. Professor Adeyemo announces instant replacement, and that's on page 28 of the New Telegraph newspaper. All right, then we have Mr. Theophilus with us here in the studio to help us review the front pages of our national dailies. Good morning, Mr. Theophilus Abba. Thank you for joining us this morning, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, good morning and Happy New Year.
Good to see you this year.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. All right, let's start off with Daily Trust. We have seen the controversies going on with godfatherism both in Rivers State and also in Kano State. And I want us to look at this first headline, Governor Yusuf's defection beyond Kano. I mean, despite appeals from national leader of the New Nigerian People's Party, which is NNPP, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, is urging Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf to reconsider his reported defection to the All Progressive Congress APC. What's your take on this?
Well, I think there have been defections, and it's really difficult for us to understand why this is happening. Because we thought that NNPP had Kano as a stronghold, and we had states that were under the PDP, and we felt that, if anything, the governors of these states will work to ensure that they revive the PDP. But what we have seen is defections from every available party, defections from even the Labour Party to Labour Party to APC. We are seeing defections from PDP to APC, and the least we expected was from NNPP. Because NNPP experience was quite peculiar. The fourth PDP, yes, or the fourth APC, already APC fought them to a standstill. Remember that in 2019 it was a tug of war. Then in 2023, the victory was like stamping, the influence of Kwankwaso on Kano politics, and to say, these are our own party, and then we are going to abide by it. So it's quite shocking, for us to hear that even Governor Yusuf in Kano wants to, defect to APC. But then for those who have monitored the country's politics from 1999, we have noticed what I would call Tinubu politics. When he became governor of Kano State, it was under AD, and then he had issues with AD. He had to set up ACN, And with ACN, we thought that, well, it would be restricted to Kano. We later saw PDP sweep several parts of several states in the southwest. But later, ACN, swept almost every state in the southwest. And we thought that, if that is possible, it could be because it was a region, southwest region, where you have, majority Yoruba-speaking people in that region. So we want to have a party that will call our own party, something like that. But then we discovered that when Tinubu became a president, we saw this systematic defection. It's like repeating the feat that he accomplished in the earlier years, between 1999 to 2007, where you had almost all the southwest states, just excluding maybe one or two that became ACN. It's like it's repeating that feat at the national level. And it's amazing because we need to find out what exactly, has he used to entice, the governors to ensure that, they move from the party that voted them into power to APC. There are a lot of implications, actually, because if all the governors, I think our last count about 30 of them now, almost 30. If Yusuf joins, it will be about 30 states that are already APC. Now, it means that it's going to be a thoroughfare for Tinubu if the election of 2027 is how elections have been conducted. I say how, because we have discovered that even the electoral rules are abused. We have discovered that the figures, that that come up from the what do you call it, Beavers, and IREF, they are not the figures that I counted. So if the governors take charge of their state and all of them work for Tinubu, of course, it means that it's going to be a thoroughfare for Tinubu, unless we have what we call a protest vote among the masses, who will say, because of some Tinubu's policies, we're not going to vote for him. If that happens, and if we have a credible electoral body that will say, well, we are going to stick to what voters have decided. But if not, we are seeing a thoroughfare that is, an express second term for Tinubu from what we are seeing. And I think the governors themselves, they feel that if we're under APC, perhaps the stress of being re-elected may no longer be as difficult as it should be. If I'm in the ruling party, I'll likely get the ruling party's ticket, because if you're the ruling party and you're a governor, you have the right of first refusal. You get the ticket. And at the national level, if you have the support of the president at national level, it's most likely that, you'll be able to win your election for the second time. So there are a whole lot of, suppositions that are coming up. But personally, I think it's not good for the country's democracy.
Absolutely.
Because so let's take a look it's a plural system, and we should allow the plurality of our democracy to prevail.
All right, time is against us quickly. There's another headline that's a bit disturbing. 469 Kano children die of malnutrition in 6 months. And it has been reported that at least 469 children died from malnutrition between January and July 2025 in Kano State, while 51.9% of children are stunted. When we talk about malnutrition, if you look at the statistics, most times it comes from the northern part of Nigeria. And being that, we're having issues with the economy and what have you, and Nigerians are still, saying that based on what is on paper is not reflecting in the everyday Nigerian life. There are still most families that cannot afford even 1 square meal, not to talk more of 2 or 3. I would like to hear your view on this particular headline and how worrying it is for, to have such a number in Kano State.
Well, I think it aligns with, that figure aligns with several data on poverty. Although Kano is not the poorest state in the north. When we talk about poorest state in the north, talk about Zamfara. Zamfara, Yobe, we always see them as, from the data from various agencies, are the poorest states. But my concern actually is that, these data, when they come up, they influence government policies. It influences even interventions by international organizations. And I'm feeling that I'm feeling that over the years, you know, we've been having this kind of statistics. A lot of funding, you know, has gone into, I mean, cushioning the effect of whatever you call malnutrition or poverty and all this. And we need to find out whether these funds are judicially applied, you know, because if you keep talking about malnutrition for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you know, and you've been doing a lot of interventions all these years. So what happened to the money? What actually happened to the money? You know, like when you talk about nomadic, I mean, the guys, the herders not having access to education. And I keep arguing, if I go to the national budget, you see a lot of funding, you know, funds that have been devoted to nomadic education.
So where is the money?
So where is the money? In fact, where is the money? So the question we should be asking is not even to be shocked by the numbers, but we have local governments in this state. We have state governments. We have federal interventions. We have whatever project we have for the vulnerable. You know. So what happened to the money? It's time for us to, especially the houses of assembly, for them to sit down and say, look, we've got funding for this. Where is the money? Who is actually benefiting? Okay. You know, because we can't continue to talk about malnutrition forever. It has been on the table for many years now. And if some of the IMF loans that we have taken, some of the World Bank interventions are to deal with issues like this.
Absolutely.
You know, they are not even for infrastructure. They have malnutrition, poverty, social intervention. So where is this money entering? And why is it that we keep having these high figures year in, year out? All
right, Mr. Theophilus, we have 2 minutes, but I don't want us to leave without not talking about this headline as echo on other front pages of our national dailies. APC to Wike, resign, don't bring PDP spirit into our party. We have seen a whole lot of back and forth between Wike, Fubara, the party, and what have you. I would like to hear your view on this before we wrap up.
Well, I think it's time for Wike to take a decision. As far as I'm concerned, he has to take a decision. If he wants to join the APC, let him join the APC. Let him leave the PDP.
But do you think the APC would accommodate him, would want to have him in the party?
I don't think APC rejects anybody. If you have seen the gale of defections into the party, APC does not reject anybody. Because the reality is that even in APC, if you are the governor of a state, you know, and you belong to a party, the party considers you as the leader of that party in the state. So for him to say, Fubara should not be considered the leader of APC in the state, I think he's just deceiving himself. If he wants to join APC, let him join the APC. Then he must accept, you know, the rules of the game. If the rule of the game is that the governor is the leader of the party in the state, you have to say yes to that rule, even if you are the godfather of the government.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Theophilus Abba, for speaking with us this morning and for reviewing the front pages of our national dailies.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we are going to be wrapping up Daybreak this morning. To everyone who called in to share their thoughts and also sent in their WhatsApp messages, we say thank you. To our guests who spoke to us virtually, thank you for speaking with us and having that conversation. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news and programs. I am Mimana Bagudu. Have a great day. Bye-bye.